Welcome to the bottom of the barrel. To all you grubby groupers and floundering fans, to another edition of the Bottom Feeders podcast, the first podcast dedicated to the last. Sit back and enjoy the blast, the rush of watching our teams triple in the clutch or not showing us in games that mean so much. Here at the bottom, we talk about it all, every decision that led to our downfall. Backside of Brandon Moore, knocked the ball out. Going forward. Welcome to the Bottom Feeders.
And we are live. Welcome to episode 3 of the Bottom Feeders podcast. My name is Carson, joined by Malcolm. Malcolm, how you doing today?
How you doing, people? What's up?
Well, we are back with another week of some fantasy and real football, depressing statistics, watching our teams fail. But honestly, I don't know about you, Malcolm, but I had a pretty good week. I got to watch the Jets win. I got to watch my fantasy team put up the
Not
second
often.
highest points in the league.
You
Um,
know,
I'm feeling great. What about you?
I am sure you are feeling good. And as your friend, I am happy that you're happy. That's how I'm feeling.
A rough week for Malcolm's fantasy team and for the Raiders, his team. If you're
We
joining
had
us,
a very similar week to last week, almost very like the Raiders had the same week that I had in fantasy this week. So it was good. It's awesome.
yeah,
Sorry.
if you're joining
Go
us for the
ahead.
first time, this is the Bottom Feeders podcast, a
Boop,
podcast
boop, boop.
dedicated to highlighting the mistakes that we make, the lows that many of us experience, whether it's in fantasy or watching our real fandoms struggle in the moment when they're against the opponent on the field or against their fantasy rival. Some background: we've been in the same fantasy league for about 14 years now, and it's the
Around there.
We Like Men Fantasy Football League. Malcolm, can you just remind us, since 2018, how many top three finishes do we have?
0.
That's a big fat goose egg. No top three finishes. Average finish for us is actually 10th place out of 12.
How many times have we lost the losers bracket though?
Since Let me pull that up. Since 2018, that's as far as our data goes back to. Um, we've only had one last place finish each. I think overall we have three last place finishes.
That's what you call survivor instinct.
Yeah, we do have combined four 11th place finishes out of 12.
I win that last game. That's what I gotta do. All right. My team shows up when it matters.
You
When
do
it
have
absolutely doesn't matter.
you do have three of those 11th place finishes.
Hell yeah.
But so yeah, we're gonna break down some of our fantasy struggles this week now. But before we get into that, Malcolm, I wanted to throw something new at you. You ready for this?
Okay.
I want us
Good
just to
catch.
I want us to kind of see if maybe we just get unlucky with the draft, right? And I want to figure out if our issues are drafting our teams
Hmm.
or how we manage our rosters. What do you think it is?
I'll be honest. I think that over years past, I've been somewhat of a waiver warrior. So I don't know if it's management, because I think that is how I've somehow circumvented a lot of those last place finishes is being able to be aggressive. And since we implemented the budget for the free agency, I haven't been as aggressive in years past. But I know drafting is probably where a lot of the decision making has like we got reminded in our group chat when we showed them the show this week about my Alfred Blue decision many years back in the fifth round, and I think that's definitely been always a tendency of mine where if I'm really high on a player, I do watch every preseason game. So I might be watching more tape than you have ever seen on this kid. I saw all the draft footage, and I'm like, ooh, I really believe in this player, and I've definitely overextended a couple times. So draft for me.
Honestly, honestly,
What do
that
you think
was
about
my
you?
For me, I think it's well, drafting has been poor of late. I remember last year I was so excited for the Anthony Richardson, Michael Pittman Colts
Yes, you were.
stack that
I think I tried to talk you down though, did I not? Did I not?
you were very wary of Pittman, and I'm like, no, no, Pittman's a dog, which he is, but man, it was
I
rough last year.
I'm wary of Pittman the same way I'm wary of Garrett Wilson.
But now he's got Danny Dimes throwing to him, and even though he's had a rough couple weeks, he's still putting up numbers.
I don't doubt their ability to be productive. I do doubt anything that's coming out of the arm of the quarterback.
Yeah. But so what I want to determine with this new segment,
Let's do it.
maybe our failures is not the draft, maybe it's not waiver wire management, maybe it's just our start sit decisions. I know we
Okay.
kind of focus on one dream or nightmare each week, but I wanted to put us in the shoes of maybe if we had a better roster, would we be making the right decisions? So
Well,
what I've done, I went through every team in our league, and I picked the what I would determined was the closest decision between starting and sitting a player. I got mine written down. I want you just straight, not a lot of thought put into it. I'm going to
okay.
give you a start sit, and you're going to throw me a name. And then next week, we'll see how we both did. And maybe that is the problem. Maybe that's the root of all of our issues.
This is gonna be fun.
All right, you ready for it?
Maybe.
First matchup, first decision. Do you start Zach Charbonnet versus the Rams or Christian Watson against the Giants?
What a terrible position to be in. Do I trust the Seahawks in this tough divisional matchup against the Rams to be able to run the ball? Something that Kenneth Walker has failed to do for many games, and then some games he's been looked exceptional. And Zach Charbonnet, same type of back,
Yeah.
same level of productivity, same capability.
Or do you trust Jordan Love to maybe finally have a good game and throw to Christian Watson?
Who is Jordan Love? Is that the guy from UCLA? Because as a USC football fan, you know this about me. I don't know if I'm willing to trust a UCLA quarterback more than I'm willing to trust a USC quarterback, and I trust neither.
Fair enough. So what's the verdict? Charbonnet or Watson?
Watson.
Watson. All right. Next one. Start one of these three. I'm gonna butcher this name. Shamari Dike. I don't know how to pronounce it. That rookie on the Titans against
Okay.
Houston. Tyrone Tracy against the Packers, or Cooper Cup versus the Rams.
I'm going to go Cooper Cup because I didn't go with the Seahawks in the last one. Because I do think they are going to be productive this week from a fantasy perspective.
I also
And
picked
Sam Darnold's going to be hot.
Cup just solely for that rematch. I feel like that revenge game against
Mhm.
his old team, he's gonna go off.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Here's a fun one. Dak against the Raiders or Joe Flacco against the Steelers.
Um, this is where you have to go with your head, not your heart, right?
Right.
Uh, I don't care about what my head's saying. I'm gonna go whatever is the positive with the Flacco. No positive for Dak this week, please.
All right. I also want Flacco as well. I know the Steelers defense is good, but he's just been too hot. Also for that first one, when you picked Christian Watson, I picked Charbonnet.
Oh,
All right, I got another 3-4 for you. Tez Johnson, the rookie on the Bucks against the Bills, Brian Thomas Jr. against the Chargers, or Trey Tucker against the Cowboys.
so I'm going to go with a bold prediction here and tell everybody that all three of these players are going to score a touchdown this weekend. I don't know if that's actually a bold prediction, but I'm telling you right
Oh,
now,
it is.
I could see that happening for sure. Trey Tucker is probably going to score a 60-yard touchdown. Let's go Tez with a goal line touchdown from Baker, and then what was the second name?
Brian Thomas Jr.
Brian
against the
Thomas Jr.
Chargers.
against the Chargers secondary. Yes, I can see that also happening this week with maybe a 30 or 40-yard touchdown. But if I'm going to pick most likely in its fantasy viability, we're probably going to go with Tez and Baker because they seemingly have a good connection. Mike Evans is still out, and I think that's definitely the best one out of all three of them.
I also picked Tez Johnson too. We're pretty
I don't like how sick we are knowing that we both have woes.
you just know that all of these are going to be the wrong decision.
I can feel it in the back of my
And,
mind,
and if any one of you listening out there have a similar decision, maybe don't take our advice, given what you heard in the beginning about our fantasy success.
Go the other way. There are three options.
I got a twofer for you. Zach Ertz against the Dolphins or Mark Andrews against the Cleveland defense that has actually been playing pretty well.
So I want no parts of that Cleveland defense. I'm going with Zach Ertz. I don't know what the Commanders have. Marcus Mariota is Marcus Mariota, but he likes tight ends. And Zach Ertz scores touchdowns every 3 weeks.
I am actually going with Mark Andrews on this one.
Bad man. You think
yeah.
Myles Garrett is going to have a tame game against Lamar?
Hey, I
You
mean,
think Greg Newsome and whoever is left in that Cleveland secondary? Because I don't even know who plays in Cleveland secondary, but it doesn't matter. Week to
I,
week, they're always getting turnovers.
I think quick passes because of that Miles Garrett
Gotta
pass
chill.
rush. Quick passes are going to go to the tight end more often than not.
Don't say Miles Garrett's name a third time. I just gotta chill. I'm
All right,
worried for
next
Lamar
one.
this weekend.
Next one, pick your Bronco. This is for one of the flex decisions in our league. Troy Franklin or RJ Harvey
Oh, that's
against
easy.
the Chiefs.
Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin's a
Mhm.
player I've been watching for weeks, and every time I see him, I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to believe that he's viable in fantasy, but in our deep league, that's a player
Yeah.
that I would see on the waiver wire and I would have to pick up.
Hey, Harvey's been up and
Harvey
down,
Harvey
so
is great, but the Broncos over passing game is just kind of sketch. So
yeah. All right. Next one. You were talking about him earlier, and it's crazy that this is a decision, but it is a real decision in my opinion. Caleb Williams against the Vikings or Lamar Jackson against the Browns. Yeah.
have we come to this point in time
I
when
think we have.
I'm going to have to go with the USC quarterback purely just because of allegiance? I love Lamar Jackson. But that Cleveland defense is scary. We talked about draft strategies in a little bit, not even as like a guide, but just things we have done in the past. I've always tried to set runs, and I believed in this Denver defense very, very highly. And I thought that Cleveland was, I was very close to taking Cleveland as well early in the draft. And I don't know. I think that that defense has been so
Yeah. I mean,
productive from a
it's
fantasy perspective. It's actually scary for your opposing quarterback to just go against them in a fantasy because
yeah,
they may have two fumbles in the game. So
it is
no, I
crazy
have to go with
it is
Williams.
crazy to think about benching Lamar, but Caleb Williams does have 63.8 fantasy points in
Yeah,
the last 2 weeks.
the Vikings are also just questionable all over the board with injuries.
Uh, Also,
Harrison
I don't
Smith
know.
is the only thing holding that secondary together.
Every year, forever.
So I don't know what their defensive strategy is from a year-to-year building standpoint, but seemingly he's their last line of defense. And he's as he's gotten older, he's missed some time with injuries, and that whenever he's missing in that secondary, it looks atrocious. So
He is going to be playing until he's 50 years old, I'm convinced.
John Lynch is who I
Yeah,
think of when I think of Harrison
literally.
Smith. Bro. Like, how is he still? He's still in the league
He
on the
is
same team.
he,
Okay,
he is
all right,
36. And actually,
that's wild for a free safety. When did Woodson retire? I think 37.
let me fact check that. Charles Woodson. Damn, he played for 17, 18 years. Holy shit.
Yes,
He
Packers,
retired at
Raiders.
39.
Mm, even
And
crazier.
when he was 39 years old, he made the Pro Bowl. Crazy stuff.
What?
Um, just elite. Just to add
How?
in, hey, it was with your Raiders, so you
I
tell me.
know. I watched that year. He had like 3 sacks in that year.
Was that your playoff year, 2015? The Derek
2016.
Carr? 2016, okay.
2016, we were 12-4. Derek Carr broke his leg in week 16 or 17 versus the Colts. Yeah.
Brutal. Um, just to go back to the last few decisions, I also picked Troy Franklin. I did take Lamar Jackson. I could not bring myself to bench Lamar.
See,
More,
can we
two
go?
more to go, and then we'll get to
Why?
our own
Okay, okay,
teams.
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Why? Why Lamar? He's Lamar freaking Jackson, you know? He can run
I
for 100
know.
yards any given moment.
Against this Cleveland team, do you realistically think that that's going to happen, though? That's why I don't want to delve into too deep, but like, yeah, that's interesting to me.
Yeah. I just couldn't do it. If I had Lamar and Caleb Williams, I just wouldn't bring myself to bench him.
Because I think it's more about the Vikings than it is about and how good the Cleveland team is. Anyways, two
Yep.
more. Let's
Two
get
more decisions. Jake Ferguson against your Raiders
it. Hell
or
no.
Hunter Henry against my Jets.
Um, I have to go Jake Ferguson because he's really good, but I don't want to. Okay, I'm going with Ferguson, but I hope Hunter Henry is more productive.
I
I
am in
do
your
honestly
exact
think
same
Dak's
boat.
gonna have a good game though. So yeah.
I'm in your same boat. I picked Hunter Henry. I have no faith in the Jets defense. But I hope you're right and I'm wrong. But
I
all right,
I
last
have a
one. This
sneaky
is one of the
suspicion.
more. This is
Go
one of
for it.
the most interesting decisions I think, just because of the matchups involved.
What we got?
I'm going to give you three players. Bench one of these guys. Dallas Goddard against the Lions.
Mhm.
Travis
Okay.
Kelsey against that very potent Broncos defense,
Hmm.
or DK Metcalf against a very questionable Cincinnati defense. Bench one. Goddard, Kelsey, Metcalf.
We have to bench Goddard. As a Jalen
Really?
Hurts owner, I can tell you that the Eagles passing game is not what you want to be staking your fantasy life on. They
I
will win
chose
you the
Kelsey.
game, but Kelsey's going to score a touchdown this week. He's
I don't
he's always
know.
kind of good for that. Like they've been struggling as much as they've been struggling. They have that Gronk and Brady connection where it's like, okay, historically they have numbers to meet, and they for whatever reason keep meeting these quotas. So I don't know. He's going to score 8 touchdowns this year, and we're going to look back and be like, when? But I think this is going to be one of those weeks. And like we were talking
I don't
about in
know.
the
I don't
pre-production read,
know.
Rashi Rice, I think he could either have a good week or he might even get injured this week. I think the usage rate of all the Chiefs playmakers is insane, and Kelsey being the only one that's not getting injured consistently is going to eventually have some quantifiable impact. And I think this is probably one of those weeks.
Yeah, I chose to bench Kelsey. I mean, I think that game could very easily end up being like 16-13.
Nah, 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 nah,
And
nah, nah.
I don't know.
Denver's
Denver.
so Denver's offense has been atrocious, right? They
Yeah.
are due for a bounce back game. And that is an offense that is capable of scoring 30 points in a game, but they don't, just because Bo Nix's inconsistencies, the inconsistency in the running game, and sometimes the lack of playmaking on the outside, because Sutton's really one of their only options consistently. So I don't know. I think that they're due this week. It being a divisional game, those AFC West games, either like you're saying, are either low scoring. I think this one is probably going to be one of those high scoring ones. It's going to end up being a shootout because I also don't trust that their defense is going to be able to stop Mahomes and them from at least making a
Mm-mm.
couple big plays.
No
I don't
way. No
think they're
way.
going to be able to maintain a drive. They've proven this year they cannot maintain drives like they used to. But I do think they're capable of some big plays and capitalizing on some red zone plays, unlike they have in weeks past. But
I disagree entirely.
we'll see.
I think it's going to be a defensive battle, and for that reason, I'm going to bench Kelsey. But speaking of Chiefs pass catchers, perfect transition into our dreams and nightmares segment.
Ooh.
Just to kind of review, last week my dream was Jerry Jeudy against my New York Jets, and go entering that game, he had I think maybe less than 12 total points in his last four games combined. But I started him. He went out 6 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdowns, almost 17 half PPR fantasy points. Malcolm, what was your dream last week?
Xavier Leggett.
Xavier Leggett. How did he end up doing for you?
He got hurt. He got hurt. It's not his fault. Happens. Should have known. Panthers. Oh,
What's funny is I think the motivation for that dream was because Aaron Jones was injured and it was questionable if he was going to play. If he was going to play, would he
and then
be on
he
a
ended
snap
up
count?
playing.
And he played well.
He did. He did so well. He played like Aaron Jones, which is frustrating.
I think this
That's why I
is
drafted him.
we pretty much swapped from this week and last week, where last week I didn't fail to score even 90 points and you had a resounding victory. And this week you failed to score 90 fantasy points and it ended up being a 6 point loss. And I did pretty
Tough one.
well.
And the aforementioned portion of the falling in the standings, I feel like, is what is parallel to the Raiders situation. If they had won that game, they would have been 3-5 and been in a couple of games back in their division. In this case, for me, losing this game now means I'm in fourth place overall in the league, and then now also I'm
Yeah.
just fighting for the playoffs. Every game matters now.
It's
So
we are both in that 5-5 boat, which is honestly I think the best start either of us have had in years.
absolutely.
500.
Had
But
I won the game though, I would have been in second place in the whole league.
yeah, you would have.
I
Yeah,
had the
you would
tiebreaker
have.
over CJ and some other folks.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, who this week you can bounce back, right? Who's gonna be your dream for this upcoming matchup you have?
I was looking at my roster and it's sketchy. Okay, it's a good roster. We have some favorable matchups, but my dream for this week is a little bit boring in that it's my RB1. I feel like you shouldn't have dreams for your RB1, but Ashton Genty, please, please do your thing against the Cowboys this week. I need you to go ahead and go ham, score a couple touchdowns for me, maybe 2 or 3, a couple 100 yards. That would be nice. I would really appreciate that. Maybe the same type of production, that you were dreaming or hoping for, similarly in previous weeks. I
Yeah.
think that would just be really nice to have an actual RB1. Because since I lost Roma Doomsday, I haven't had a player on my team who is someone I can count on to score consistently every week and then also produce the points that I need from a primary position like that.
Yeah. I
I'm
will say,
sincerely regretting that decision.
I'm looking at it now. You actually have the most project. I know ESPN projections are questionable, but you are
Yeah,
projected the points this week by a considerable margin. But the
it's not
record
the
just
first
isn't
time.
reflecting.
Even if ESPN projections were better, I am often projected to dominate my matchups seemingly from a week to week standpoint. And then we get into the games, and some of the offenses are so stifled in the first half that by the second half, I know no matter how many players we have to play, this team is not going to produce the number that was projected. And now I'm really starting to stress. And that's
Yeah.
happened for the past 3 weeks, I think, consistently. Even the week I scored on almost 150 points, I was like, as soon as we started climbing past 120, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but he's starting to come back. So we need to start producing again.
No,
So
absolutely. I'm also have a similar dream where my dream is actually one of my better players, but I could bench him just looking at the matchups. I'm most likely going to be benching Jerry Judy even after his great week. I'm going to be benching Malik Washington, who's been on a tear for Miami as of late.
yes, he has.
I'm going to be
Good call.
benching Darius Slayton. I want to start him, but with the hamstring injury, he's missing practice. Even if he does play, I can't trust his health. I want to play him with Jameis. I know Jameis is going to be slinging that ball around,
One thing you can count Jameis on. He's going to throw that ball around. Going to make some things happen.
but I'm going to bench all of them. I'm even going to bench my guy Bill, who does have actually a decent matchup this week against the
This
Dolphins.
is growth.
But yeah, finally deciding to bench Bill. I'm going to start Rasheed Rice. I
Okay.
know he's been really good, but he has a tough matchup this week against Patrick Surtain and the Broncos. He's going to be against maybe, I don't know, we debated this last week, maybe the league's #1 corner.
This was a player that when you drafted him, I was very suspect of the decision to draft him when you did. And just like, because we talked about this pre draft, I was like, I don't know, Rice, man. Like, yeah, we don't know when he's going to come back and what that production is going to look like. And then the Chiefs got off to the start that they did. But I don't know. I think that this might be the week.
I mean,
I am very high on what the Chiefs are capable of doing against the Broncos defense, despite how good I think the Broncos defense is. I'm not
he's
really
been
sure.
he's been great every week. He has at least one touchdown in each of the 3 games he's played. His lowest output is 16.6 fantasy
Damn.
points, but the Denver defense concerns me. And I have players I could start over him. Malik Washington, Jerry Judy, both coming off great weeks, both with much better matchups. Malik Washington is going against the 31st ranked defense in fantasy. Judy going against the 28th, and Washington.
Washington's also playing with the 32nd quarterback in the league too, though.
That concerns me too, because if the Dolphins just jump to a big lead again, they might not be throwing the ball as much. And if Malik Washington doesn't get an early touchdown, who knows?
HN owners, you hear that?
Yeah, I think I would start
Root for
him.
good things this week.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with my gut. I can't bench Rasheed
Sounds
Rice.
good though. Rasheed Rice.
I know the matchup sucks. So my dream is that, he keeps doing what he has been doing despite Patrick Surtain across the ball.
And with that, we
Uh,
delve into the dark dream dimension. Nightmares, right?
uh, we've already gone over your nightmare and the get.
Whew.
My nightmares are my fumble of the week. I actually didn't have a fumble. I'll be honest. This was a pretty quick segment for me. Not to brag on you, but uh, I
Wow.
pretty much started my best possible lineup. I mean, every player on my team last week, uh, actually the lowest scoring player
I'm
on
gonna
my
sip my tea
team
for that.
that wasn't a tight end, kicker, or defense. The lowest scoring player was Bijan Robinson, and I'm not gonna bench him. I'm not gonna call that a fumble.
So
So I had a good week.
I'm proud.
I got
It's a good
none.
week.
Your
It's
fumbles,
a
you
great
have
week.
quite a few.
Yeah, I was like, I can just take over from here. Um, let's start with Leggett and move down to Dalton Schultz, and then maybe bump it up a little bit and talk about some other decisions we made to not play Aaron Jones. And I don't know, the whole thing's a nightmare this week, but especially Xavier Leggett missing time this week. Which my opponent, I forgot who he ended up playing, but his receiver also got hurt, but it was later in the game than mine, so he scored 1.2 points, and Leggett had 0. So
Yeah.
that little difference ends up being the margin because, again, as you mentioned, I lost by 6 points.
Yeah,
So
I think you're referring to the tight end actually, Aronde Gadsden. He got hurt pretty
yes,
early on
Rondé
against
Gatson.
only finished with meager amount of points. His kicker only got 1 point, but still pulled out a 95 to an 89 victory. And this is now the second week in a row where you could have started Dalton Schultz and won. Either whether it was high point or win your matchup. When are you going to put him in your lineup?
When CJ Stroud returns.
He,
If you
he,
want me to look at Davis Mills on a week-to-week basis and have confidence in this man, I would tell you that the Texans should put me on their payroll because I don't think anybody in their payroll has confidence in that man.
hey,
But they show up to work every week, and that defense is tenacious, and they surprise everybody every week. So I need to obviously, like you said, stop being surprised, but it's going to take some time. Dalton
say,
Schultz has always been a reasonable person. This the same man that in his exit interviews from the Cowboys, he was like, man, they have a circus culture over there. And you know what? Things transpired, and now Micah's left, and I think that's pretty much indicative of what he was saying about why he chose the Texans over being a Dallas Cowboy.
hey, look, I know you say that, and I know you say you don't trust Davis Mills, but I'll leave you with one stat before we go to break. Last week at Davis Mills, I think his first full start of the season, he targeted Dalton Schultz 11 times. He got 7 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. So I'm
So
just I'm
you're
just
saying
leaving
he's
you with
tight
that
end
number.
reliant.
Hey, if it worked one week,
Mm.
might work again this week. But
All
well,
right.
we're gonna take a quick break. Once we get back, we're gonna check in on some of the coaching fumbles of the week, check in on Malcolm's Raiders, my Jets,
Yes.
and see where we are at a depression level with our current teams.
See y'all after the break.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Bottom Feeders podcast, Carson alongside Malcolm.
How y'all
Uh,
doing?
and we were having some good discussion over the break about some of our worst memories in
Chopping it
football.
up.
Uh, whether our worst memories of fantasy or a Jets memory. It's actually from our intro. We have some sound bites from both the butt fumble for the Jets and the
Oh,
tuck rule for the Raiders. And I know that's my worst memory as a Jets fan. Is that your worst as a Raiders fan?
it's my first memory of football. I was in the basement with my father. We were watching that game. I remember that blizzard. I was playing with markers on the floor, like simulating tackles and literally imagining football, watching formations and stuff like that. I saw Charles Woodson make that sack. It was a fumble. And yeah, I've never really been right after that as far as my sports fandom. I've always picked losing teams because of it. I think there's sometimes something we're going to go over the psychology of picking losing teams at some point in the show. But yeah, that's definitely one of my first football memories. And you know what? I just now realizing too, like this is deeply wounding for me as a USC quarterback who was involved in that butt fumble too. So, and Mark Sanchez is going
Yeah.
through a lot right now, but still, yeah,
Yeah,
tough,
he sure is. Yeah, rough situation, rough
rough
time
all
to be Mark
around,
Sanchez.
rough all around.
But well, I know we talked about some of our fantasy failures and struggles in the first half of the break. I do want to remind the viewers and remind us that the decisions we make are never as bad as some of the worst decisions that real NFL head coaches make, getting paid millions of dollars a year, with a lot more on the
Only 10 to
line.
15.
Yeah, a lot more on the line than our $100 buy-in fantasy league.
Yeah.
So we'll do a coaching fumble of the week every single was your first time listening. Malcolm, who is your coaching fumble of the week?
If this is your first time listening, you wouldn't know that this is the same person I picked last week. But it's incredible that this person
Okay.
fumbled 2 weeks in a row. Typically, when NFL coaches fumble multiple weeks in a row, they don't get to keep their jobs often. So, Matt LaFleur, this week, make sure you hold on to the ball. Okay, because the 10-7 loss to the Eagles is actually one of the worst losses I've seen. And it's incredible when you lose games against good teams, typically as a coach, you're not usually held accountable. But this game, he made some of the same mistakes again he made last week. Some of the decisions to go for it on fourth, specifically the one where they had the ball on the 40-yard line, and they either had the opportunity to go choose to score, or they were going to punt the ball back to the Eagles, who already had been struggling on offense all day. They ended up trying to go for it. The Eagles got field position. That was the one possession where they had that long run from Saquon, and a couple other plays they chained together, and then Devontae scored. So I don't know. I think that overall he has to lock in. He has to motivate that locker room to win some of these games that are honestly going to become a lot more meaningful than they were when they played them later in the
Yeah.
season.
I remember three weeks ago, the Packers were I think the odds-on betting favorite to win the NFC. And
That
now,
defense is too good. They held the Eagles to 10 points.
yeah,
The Eagles, as I know people have been talking about their offensive struggles, that's mostly just because of the drama on offense. They have been producing against every single team they played for almost a 2-year period. So the idea that your defense is going to hold them to 10 points and then also your offense is only going to be capable of scoring 7, we know that offense can score at least 25 points per game. And they typically do against tough opponents too.
yeah,
So.
oh, absolutely. My coach and fumble. First off, yeah, Packers, Matt LaFleur, he's got to figure it out. It's kind of embarrassing to lose back at games where did they score 10 points or less both weeks?
It's like watching the Iowa offense.
Yeah, literally. And it's like they have so much talent. Dobbs has emerged as a star, I think. Josh Jacobs is he's playing like a top 5 running back in the league.
Josh Jacobs is a top 5 running back. He has not ever not been a top 5 running back in the league. He led the league in rushing for 3 out of 5 years of his career.
All right, I'll give you that. But still, what, 10 points against the Panthers, 7 against the Eagles, pretty embarrassing. My coach and fumble.
And
Oh wait, no, go ahead.
yeah.
Finish your thought.
It was the idea that Jordan Love is responsible for any of it, I think, is laughable. I've seen a lot of that talk, and I think that goes back to just people not really wanting to assign blame to Matt LaFleur and not assigning blame for the struggles he had with Rodgers, and I think they're not assigning blame right now too. But what's your coaching fumble?
Mine is going to be a little bit controversial. I think I'm going to upset a lot of people, but this is a head coach that is supposed to be an offensive mastermind, right? A quarterback, what do they call it? Quarterback guru, mentor of sorts.
Whisperer.
And I'll give him credit. The offense has been playing really well under his coaching. But despite how good the offense has been playing, I think they've exceeded expectations. This man, and I know people are up in arms about it, but this man lost his job this week. Brian Daboll. And I know as you go on Twitter, everyone's freaking out about why he was fired and not showing the GM. They're like, oh, it was Brian Daboll who wanted to draft Jackson Dart, right? And the GM had to be talked into it by Brian. But I think we were very close. We were very close to seeing. I think it was the right decision to fire him for this one reason alone. We are very close to Jackson Dart turning into a situation. This man is getting beat up every week. He is getting concussed multiple times. And there was, last week, that's the reason Jameis Winston is starting this week for the Giants, is because he got concussed and Brian Daboll, like, very clearly concussed. You could see the hit. You could see he was walking slow. He was woozy. Daboll put him back in the next drive before eventually taking him out, going to the medical tent, diagnosed with a concussion. And that's the second time this year that there has been some weird drama with Brian Daboll. Like, he poked his head in the tent and, like, violated NFL protocol, got fined for it, put Jackson Dart back in when he was obviously concussed. He's gonna ruin Jackson Dart's career if he stayed with the Giants. And I think for Jackson Dart's safety, Brian Daboll, it was the right decision. I think Mike McDaniel should have been fired years ago when he was first doing it with Tua. Now Tua's not the same, and I fear for Jackson Dart that he might not be the same after all these concussions and the irresponsibility of the coaching staff.
You're 1,000% correct, but hear me out. This is exactly what Jackson Dart did at Ole Miss. This is who he is. This is that Daniel Jones in him and that Carson Wentz in him, where he's going to have to figure out how much of that he can balance, because he's not Josh Allen. I think the thing that Justin Herbert and Josh Allen get away with that people don't really realize is they are 6'6" or 6'5".
Yeah, they're big bodied,
240 plus, and they can do that. Dart's not necessarily that. He's that lighter build, that 225 build, where you're like, okay, big quarterback still, but at the same time, if they keep accruing all these hits, it's going to amass a list of injuries that end up taking out Andrew Luck, who also
Yeah.
was capable of that type of mobility. So
But
I don't
that's
know.
when the coach needs to step in and pull him from the game. The coach cannot let
If you're
him
Brian
go back out
Dable
there.
and you watched Russell Wilson play football in those past couple of weeks, obviously I don't know why he didn't go with Jameis, right? I think Jameis is Jacoby Brissett a couple years ago for the Pats, where probably just should
Yeah.
have just been starting this guy, let him take the licks, take the knock. He's an NFL vet. He'll know how to take them in a way that he'll last you the rest of the season. And then
Yeah.
you move forward with Scottaboo and Dart next year. And Dable probably would
Yeah.
have kept his job. I think you're correct in that line of thinking. But I don't know. I don't know if he can honestly trust the fact that this is going to happen and he's going to be satisfied with the result if he goes with Russell Wilson or Jameis. I don't think he can live with that. I think he can live with being fired for taking a chance with Dart because he was
But
running out of
you're
options.
but you're
And as far as Joe
sacrificing his
Shane not
health.
being fired, like we saw this with Nico.
Yeah.
I think this is the new organizational approach to dismantle any fan ire. We're get rid of all of the components that you don't like, but we're gonna segment when we release them. So with the Dolphins, you're seeing them fire the GM because Greer has made a lot more egregious decisions, and I think the fan base was more upset with Greer than they were with McDaniels. And I think it's a very similar
Mm,
situation. They're upset with all the people involved.
yeah. It's like it's pretty spread out evenly.
But
Everyone's
if
upset
you've
everywhere.
seen the approach to how they've gotten rid of these people, seemingly they've broken it up to where they're like, all right, all the decision makers that you don't like, we're going to get rid of them in a timely manner and not disrupt the team so much by just jettisoning all those people out into the league like they normally do with some of these bad organizations. Because I think
Yeah.
that's why the Jaguars are where they are. They've constantly jettisoned coaches and GMs, and it has created a lack of organizational stability. And I think the Giants
Yeah.
want to avoid that. The ownership with the Giants is so much stronger than some of those other NFL franchises. I think they are capable of making better decisions, but we'll see.
Yeah. And that's why I think, look, I honestly, as a Jets fan, if we do end up firing Glenn, I would love for us to hire Dabble, but he has to learn how to be responsible for player
You
safety.
really think they
Like you
should fire
cannot.
Glenn
Um, I'm on the fence about it. I go back and forth each week, I'd say.
a year after Gerard Mayo? Are you
Yeah.
really suggesting that they should
Uh,
fire
well,
Aaron Glenn? No,
let, let's transition into our fan corner check-in with that. And yeah, let me get into it. Jets. My Jets actually had I'll call it an interesting week. One, we got the win after trading away our two best defensive players. We got the win, and our defense played. I know we allowed 20 points, but we played really well. Um, our offense was miserable, but Will McDonald had the game of his life, 4 sacks. I'm kind of glad we kept him and Jermaine Johnson while we sold because they might be the two edges of the future for us. They combined for 5 sacks last week, 6 tackles for a loss. Defense played great, which finally, that's what Aaron Glenn's, supposed to be that guy for. Finally starting to see it a little bit.
Before you continue, do you remember the conversation we had last week about your defense too? About wanting to see potential from them, not understanding
Yep.
if trading away your two best players is going to have an effect on your team, an adverse effect. And I'm
Yeah.
very surprised. Seemingly, Aaron Glenn, like the Lions have done in the years past, no matter who the players that they have, he has at least succeeded in establishing a mentality on that defense. So that's got to be a positive as a Jets fan.
Yeah, no, I think Aaron Glenn, I think he's been rising up my rankings. If you ask me, when we started off 0-7, we looked miserable. We looked like we couldn't put together anything on offense or defense. Um, and yeah, I was ready to move on after an 0-7 start. I'll be honest, but now he's kind of gaining me back a little bit. The fact that he can still get the players to buy in after was very quickly we sold the house. We fire sale everyone gone. They're still buying in, and sure, we beat the Browns, big whoop, but it's a win, which was rare for us. So
As a Raiders fan, you can never discount a win. There's so many
yeah.
losses in between.
What I will say about the Jets right now, I think I have to admit I've been trying to hold on for a long time, for as long as I could, that Justin Fields could work out. Uh, I think I'm now ready to admit that he can't. I mean, it's just week after week. Even with Garrett Wilson, sure, I know he's hurt. He's gonna miss some time, but he was healthy for the first half, and I saw some film where he was in the pocket for I think 3 seconds, did not take his eyes off Garrett Wilson from the second he got the football. Did not take his eyes off Garrett Wilson, telegraphed it like crazy, easy interception.
Serious
Uh,
question though. Who else is he supposed to be looking at in that offense that's not named Brees Hall?
Mason Taylor, I think, is really talented. Mason Taylor, I
It's,
think, is a really good rookie tight end.
it's good option. Okay, so now we
Um,
have three options. Um,
I'm excited to see John Mechie. I think this is his first game active. He got 1 catch, 3 yards. But I know this is a guy that he's had a lot of struggles to start his career. He's kind of bounced around from like Houston to Philly.
he only overcame cancer.
Yeah, like
Small things.
yeah, just a little struggle here and there. So
Now these
I
NFL coaches are telling him, I don't think you can play football. It's like, I beat cancer. I think I can.
yeah, so I want to see him more involved in the offense. He really wasn't.
It'll be interesting to see.
But yeah, Justin Fields finished with, well, one, they only let him throw the ball 11 times. Six
I
for
think
11.
it's been grossly overrated how much Justin Fields can't throw the ball or read a defense. Justin Fields is a pocket first quarterback. He always has been since Ohio State. They have forced him to run the ball throughout his tenure with the Bears. He's now been labeled as a
Well,
mobile quarterback in his time in the NFL. And honestly, if they give him the chance to just sit back and throw the ball, right?
but they have
Live
been,
with
they
the
have been,
turnovers.
and he's
Live with the
horrible.
turnovers, though. Live with the turnovers. This is kind of like a Jameis situation with less optimistic outlook, I feel like, where, okay, you know he's not the guy at this point, but you're kind of like Mike White a couple years ago. He comes in there and he might have a couple 3 touchdown games, and that's going to be fine. He's not going to be the permanent solution. That's okay too. But I think you have to be more aggressive in your play calling. It's not even just like allowing him to have a certain amount of attempts, because I think that is where you're also going wrong too. Those 50, 60 attempts games. He's not that quarterback. He's not going to give you an efficient performance in those games. You have to give him maybe 20 or 30 attempts down the field, see what happens. He has a big arm, and let that go. Trying to make him throw the
Yeah.
ball over the middle and with quick reads, with short routes, that's probably not going to be a solution, because you haven't been able to maintain drives regardless of what he's been doing, because Brees Hall and on the offensive line have been struggling week to week.
Yeah, but it's
And
just,
Brees is
I think
amazing.
he is amazing. I'm glad we kept him. I don't know if we're going to be able to sign him back in free agency because
No,
he's pretty fed up with the organization. But
no.
maybe this can be one of those situations where we franchise tag him, and then eventually win him back, kind of like the Bengals did with T. Higgins.
You better
Every
hope
year
Sauce
was
doesn't tell him how great it is to be on an organization that actually appreciates you, or you better hope that Q doesn't talk to him, because remember what happened with Josh Jacobs after he talked to Devontae Adams.
yeah,
He
but
disappeared.
also
He got up out of there. Like,
yeah,
oh, Green
but
Bay seems nice.
yeah, but you really think Brees Hall is going to be jumping at the bits to go to Dallas?
Yes.
You think
They're going
he's?
to pay him the same amount that he's going to be on the Jets. And it's going to be a similar crapshoot, but at the same time, he's going to be on the Cowboys.
I don't think any player right now is going to want to deal with Jerry Jones, especially after the whole Micah Parsons situation.
I don't
Um,
disagree, but I think that the one thing that's different from every other situation is he still brings in free agents. That's the thing. Like, yes, I think players on the Cowboys are not going to want to continue to be on the Cowboys. From the outside looking in, the Cowboys still look fantastic as a destination. Look how happy Pickens is
yeah,
and
yeah,
how
that's
miserable
true.
he was in Pittsburgh. I think that every player in the league still thinks of the Cowboys, and at least like, especially when you are playing in a place like Green Bay or the Jets, if it's so miserable and the optics or the lack of media attention is there, when you get to the Cowboys, I don't think you mind the circus as much, even though you guys might be struggling on the field. At
Yeah,
least it's
I
positive
think
attention constantly.
what I think is going to happen.
Adoration.
What I think it's
Jets
more
fans do
likely
not adore; they
he
abhor.
doesn't want the Cowboys though. I don't think he wants to deal with Jerry Jones. And if he has a choice, people are going to pay him. Like I'm sure other teams out there will pay him what Dallas wants to pay him. I think we should franchise tag him. I don't care. I don't care if he's happy or not. I do. I hope he's a really happy guy. I want him to be happy on the Jets.
Jets fans do
But I think
abhor.
we franchise
I
tag
stand by
him.
my statement.
We tag him, give him a year, win him back, get a quarterback, get him more, and then we extend him.
Get
Um,
a quarterback. The Jets are
otherwise, I
really
think
successful in doing that often.
I think he might. What I'm worried about, he might sign with someone like Pittsburgh or the
I
Chiefs.
can
I mean,
see
I know the
that.
Chiefs wanted to trade for him, and he might just go chase a ring because he is good enough to chase a ring. The Chiefs kind of need it. Steelers, I think, make a lot of sense too. They're kind of going to be rebuilding because Rodgers will not play again, and Brees Hall can kind of be that cornerstone to build the offense around.
Be
I
interesting
think
to see him on the Seahawks or maybe the Chargers too. In that same vein.
Chargers, it's tough with
Those are
Hampton. They
those are
probably can't.
teams. Those are teams that I think that might trade those young players though by the end of the year if they continue to play well. Because like you said, there's some other teams that are looking for a younger running back and aren't going to be probably able to sign a Brees Hall. So I think those teams might be hungry. Like Blake Corum for the Chargers or for the Rams rather is playing excellent
Yeah,
too. So I think those are some players that they just got into these roles on these teams and they already and those are crowded backfield. They have Charbonnet, they have
yeah,
other people. So Kenneth Walker, for example, might also similar to Brees might re-sign somewhere else too, and they might be left with Charbonnet and looking like maybe we do want to
yeah.
upgrade.
I th-
So
I think Brees could also. I think I would say
he has
Chiefs,
options.
Steelers, Seattle, like you said. I think they're about to start putting together that. Um, why am I blanking on the running back's name? Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker, yeah.
Can't be the guy. Sure, their 1-2 punch with him and Sharp is good, but man,
It's
put
the
Brees
same
Hall
thing
in
with
that
the Steelers and
offense, it
Warren
skyrockets.
and
Yeah.
Gainwell and whoever else they have in that backfield. Like I think you're spot on with that. And the Cowboys are just looking for a number one back. That's
I mean, Javonte Williams has been fine. I mean, he's been a touchdown
Rico
machine.
Dowdle has also been excellent.
Rico Dowdle has been out of this world. It's
Jonathan
crazy.
Pollard has been okay. You know,
Tony Pollard. But
Tony
yeah,
Pollard, yeah.
I'm a big Tyjae Spears guy, so I trust him to do it.
Tyjae
But
Spears is excellent. His receiving
I think
touches out of the backfield is great.
if we have to accept that Brees Hall is not going to be a Jet next year, I would say the Chiefs, Steelers, Seahawks, and I think the Bears all make a lot of sense.
Brandon
Imagine,
Johnson.
look, Swift is only doing decent numbers wise this year because he's in an offense that is it's hard to not put up good numbers in. You saw Kyle Monangai, I think that's how you pronounce it, Monangai.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah, my guy.
Rutgers.
You saw him put up almost like 150 yards when he got the start. Now just imagine Brees Hall in that offense with DJ Moore, with Caleb Williams.
Kind of see that working out, you know.
That O-line's going to get better. Rome Odunze is only going to get better. Luther Burden's going to only get
That's
better.
actually kind of a scary offense coming forward.
Yeah. They spend their draft picks on O-line
And a
and
lot of
defense.
young pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be a scary team in a couple of years, but speaking of scary teams, I think the Raiders are scary for a lot of different reasons than that. Tell us about where you're at as a Raiders fan. Rough
I'm
one
running
this-
out of words. I'm running out of words to describe our team and the way we find a way to struggle. This past week was definitely disheartening, for sure. I thought it was a good performance, good attempt, but I don't know. This week, I hope we just, I don't know, show up and put some effort in against the Cowboys. I don't know if it's a home or away game. I think it is a home game. And we haven't had great home performances this week, but we have showed up this year, and we have showed up a little bit on the road. So, regardless of where the game is, I just want Ashton Genty to run wild. I want Brock Bowers to just get reacquainted with the offense and not get injured this week. And I want Gino to regain some of his confidence in passing the ball down the field and just trust the fact that, hey, it may not be working out from a short field passing standpoint, especially after the exodus of Jacoby Myers, but we can throw the ball down the field. Trey Tucker can have a great game, and that'll be enough.
Yeah. I mean, night and day difference from the offense against the Jaguars and that overtime loss to the Broncos. I didn't think that. I mean, yes, the Broncos are probably the best defense in the league. So tough matchup.
The
But-
AFC West, we have a way of putting up. We were talking about this earlier. They either score 30 points or they score is a 10-7 game.
Yeah.
So I have a strong feeling that this week, whether it's the Chargers, whether it's the Chiefs, whether it's the Raiders, we're going to end up outperforming it because of how hard our divisional games have been.
Hey, I mean,
These
if it
teams
makes you
seem ready for it.
if it makes you feel a little worse, I am starting the Cowboys defense in our league against the Raiders. Do you think it's time to give up on Gino and let Pickett get some reps? Or
No, absolutely not.
really, you're still sticking with Gino?
Yes. We've seen Kenny Pickett play for the Raiders already. His name was Gardner Minshew.
Fair.
So
But-
I have nothing against Gardner Minshew or Kenny Pickett, but you know, if we're gonna go to the next rung down the ladder, it better be somebody who can actually play the position well. Because Gino's not playing poorly. He's just playing the position based on what our offensive line is doing on a week-to-week basis and how our run game has struggled earlier in the season. Bowers has also
Who's their third
been missing
string?
time.
That's
I don't even
right. They
know.
have they have Aiden O'Connell, but he's been on IR the whole season.
He
He's
got
not
injured in
bad.
preseason. He's
Yes,
been
that's right.
injured for a lot of his career. And
But
I
he
think
hasn't
that
been
the
horrible when
reason
he's
why
been
he's still
active.
on the roster, I was gonna say the reason why he's still on the roster is because he honestly has been okay. He kind of reminds me of Matt McGloin a couple years ago, where I've
I think
seen
he's a
him
little
in
better
limited
than
action.
McGloin. I think he's better than
That is
McGloin
yet
for
to be
sure.
determined, okay? Because Connor Cook played that playoff game in 2016, I believe, and he was also decent, kind of similar to
Connor
O'Connell.
Cook. Wow.
I've
I'm
seen a
pulling it
lot of
up.
bad quarterbacks, okay?
I mean, Aiden
One of
O'Connell
these days we
last
got to look
year.
at the list of Raiders and Jets quarterbacks because there's a lot of overlap there. Kerry Collins,
Harry Collins. Wow. Uh, yep. I
Vinny
mean, Geno Smith.
Tuiasopopo, whatever his name is. Yeah,
Aiden O'Connell last year in 9 games, he averaged 180 passing yards a game. He did have 8 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Um, not crazy numbers. There's
but
less than one
nothing. Jarrett
touchdown a
Stidham
game.
numbers, baby.
But well, he did rush for a touchdown, so he averaged 1 touchdown a game.
Yeah, that's not
And
bad.
let me see, how many fumbles did he lose? He lost 2 fumbles. So he had 6 turnovers in 9 games and 10 touchdowns. That's not horrible. I mean, he's not doing a lot.
Plus four
Um,
is pretty decent for somebody who plays. And if you compare his numbers to Anthony Richardson, that's the thing. I think that if you have a decent outlook, I think Mac Jones is currently going with through that with his draft class, where it's like
yeah,
he's just outlasted everybody and played well. Not good, not
yeah.
bad, but he's played well enough. Trevor Lawrence is Mac Jones's biggest competition, and I think that could end up being similar for uh, Aiden O'Connell. If he
Yeah,
ends up staying around. Anthony Richardson's not about to do anything particularly special. Michael Penix is seemingly falling off a cliff. I think a lot of
he
these
looked
quarterbacks
he looked
are
real
struggling.
bad. Penix looked real bad like against the Colts in Germany last week.
But that speaks to how bad Kirk Cousins really is playing right now, that he's still not playing currently.
Yeah. Well, that will pretty much conclude it. Just real quick, I want to do this once again, checking in on how bad our teams are doing. Season ended right now. Malcolm, your 2-7 Raiders would have the sixth overall pick.
We're moving
Um,
up.
my 2-7 Jets would have the fifth overall pick. So we are right back to back each other right now. Um, Potentially both of us taking a quarterback with those first few picks.
I hope not.
But we do have a new addition right now. Well, we do have the Colts first round pick this year. Right now, it's projected to be pick 32, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl. We're not going to have pick 32.
I was about to say the Colts are about to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, tankathon.com kind of just puts them at the
When it
top because
happens, I will believe it.
if it happens, it'll be because Jonathan Taylor averaged 250 yards a game in the playoffs.
That is the league MVP this year.
I'm with you 100%.
Anybody else, it would be a travesty.
But well, I agree. I haven't seen that. Who is it? Is it Drake May or Matt Stafford right now is the favorite betting? Um,
They better not let Drake May.
I
Oh,
mean,
I agree with Stafford, but they better not let Drake May become the league MVP in year
I
two
mean,
for literally doing the same thing Mac Jones did with that team.
real quick, pull it off. We're gonna go to DraftKings. I just wanna pull it up, see it, and then we'll end our session. Oh yeah. So right now, number one is Matt Stafford plus 260. Number two is
Damn.
Drake May plus 275. Mahomes is third at plus 500, and Jonathan Taylor is fourth at plus 550.
I'm gonna go put some money on Jonathan Taylor.
I might too. That might be easy
That
money. But
sounds good.
well, that concludes episode 3 of the Bottom Feeders podcast. Malcolm, any last words for the people before we sign off?
See y'all next week. Like and subscribe, baby. Let's
See
get it.
y'all next week. If you have any of your own fantasy fumbles, nightmares, you want to just rant for a fan corner check-in, make sure to email us at bottomfeederspod@gmail.com, spelled exactly how it sounds, bottomfeederspod@gmail.com. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, beautiful people. Peace.